In this video, we are going to be looking over this Minolta Freedom Zoom 160 date 35mm film camera, and my goal in making this video is to demonstrate on video all the things that you would probably want to do if you had this in your own hands. And in order to do that, I have a scrap roll of film and a Type 123 battery. Neither of these are included in the sale, they're just here to help with the demonstration. So let's get started by opening up the battery door, and on the bottom of the camera there's this little place you can fit your thumbnail into and pop that door open. Battery compartment is nice and clean, and it takes a single Type 123 battery just like that. We'll snap that shut. We hear a little bit of sound, it's winding. If there was a roll of film in there, it would be loading that. Okay, so to turn it on, the power button is right here in the back corner. You can see the lens has opened up. And one thing I should point out, I don't know if it'll show up in the video, but I do have a still photo that shows close up. There is a little line on the lens here that looks like a scratch to me, and I'm not sure if it's just through the coating or if it's into the glass, but be aware there is a little line right on there. The zoom on this camera works well. It's a long zoom and it's smooth. And I verified that the viewfinder zooms with it. And the viewfinder has a kind of a neat thing where you can set your autofocus area with this button here. So you can adjust that. And there's some lights that show up in the viewfinder that correspond with this little part of the display right here too. So that's kind of an interesting thing. Now let's go around the back here, and we can open this by pressing down on that latch. And with the door open here, we can see there's some pretty serious looking optics right here. And it's got the contacts for reading off the ASA or ISO value off of a film container. And everything looks pretty nice. There's really no foam in here except right around this window, and that feels good to me. The pressure plate looks good. So let's take this scrap roll of film and we'll put this over here. Put the little tail into that side and close the door. We hear it winding. And now it shows picture number 1 right here. So we are ready to try it. And it comes on with the flash auto, but I want it to flash for sure, and I'm in the bright lights here, so I want to make sure it's going to go off. Now I also have to point this up a little bit so that it can focus on something way off here. And so let's just do that. And the flash certainly went off, so that's good. Now I'm going to turn the flash off, now that we know that works, and then turn on the little timer here, and there'll be a little timer icon that shows up when I push that, and so we see that. So if I set the camera out here and point this back at us and push this button here, actually I think I have to point it, oh yeah, okay, the little red light is on, so we'll wait for it to complete the cycle. Actually, the little red light was not on. Now it is. Okay. Now, if we actually, about all that I need to do yet now is let's switch this back to regular exposure, and I see the display here has all dashes for the date, and let's adjust that. So in order to do that, I push this date button, and then it comes up with the word set, and then to adjust that you push select, and so it's got the 22 showing, which I had set it earlier to 22, and so we don't want to set that any farther, but we'll go to the 1, and we'll move that up to a 10, and then we'll step over and do the day to the 5th, and then you could set the time and that too. But there it's October 5th, 2022. And if we wanted to, okay, then we can, yeah. So if we wanted to see what this goes up to, there's 22, 27, 30s, and what I found about this is it never stops. Unlike most of these cameras, they stop somewhere, but this one just goes, here's in the 70s and 80s, and then back to 0 again. So I don't know how far in the future that's actually accurate, but it would lead you to believe that it's good at least for the rest of the century, which is, if you're watching this, that's as much as you're going to need. So what I'm going to do now is just pop off the rest of these pictures. It is quite quiet in the film transport. Okay, there it reached the end. So now we're going to watch it rewind right in here. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we'll hear it break free. There. And so then now it's just a flashing film indicator, so now we know it's safe to open this, and all the film is rewound back into this cartridge. So all in all, pretty nice example of this camera, except for the little scratch on the lens that I pointed out. It's got a nice strap, and I'm just going to pop this battery back out since that's not included either. But cosmetically the camera is pretty nice. I see a little bit of wear right there. Not real serious, but a little bit.